Dave Letele probably needs no introduction, but this is the news, right? So we always introduce people, so let's do this anyway with him. Dave and his Buttabean Motivation movement reach thousands of ordinary and struggling Kiwis and provide help in so many ways. A one-stop social support agency, if ever I've seen one. This guy's incredible. His reach is incredible. His influence is incredible. He works harder than anyone else. He's never home. He barely sleeps. He turns no one away. So what is it truly like on the streets and in the houses that most of us don't visit? How is it ahead of the budget day? How great is the need? And what's his advice to people as they consider joining this protest tomorrow? My man, Dave, kia ora, nice to see you.
Kia ora, bro.
Yeah, that was a nice introduction for you,
Very
wasn't it?
good intro.
Hey?
I prefer that a lot better than the way you introduced me before.
Your wife barely sees you. That's how busy you are. Okay, the protest tomorrow. What's your involvement?
Yeah, so it's not a protest. We're calling it an activation because protest brings up memories of what happened in Parliament. And my involvement is I'm one of the leaders of the Aotea Square rally and march. So it's going to be a peaceful affair. And it's just a great opportunity to get together and speak up.
And there's talk about that taking over some of the motorways as well. Is that your understanding?
Yeah, from what I hear, that's what's happening as well. But it has been really well organised with the police. We've had a lot longer time to work with the police. So I'm actually meeting a police officer after this today. Right.
Okay. So that's is it aimed to cause disruption? I mean, is an activation aimed to cause as much disruption and sort of stop people in the street and say, "Oi, look at what's happening here. Be aware of it."
Yeah. Look. We have to stand up and talk about these things, and the longer we leave it, the worse it's going to get. Things that are happening in our communities. Look, I've said it before. I am not an economist. I'm not a budgeting expert. I am not a te tiriti expert. I'm not a political expert, but I do know what's going on the street. I do know what's going on for struggling families, and it's very, very tough out there for everyone struggling. And as I've always said, BBM, we serve anyone that is struggling. And I've said to you before, Duncan, poverty, depression, suicide, obesity, all these things don't know colour. They affect all of us. Unfortunately, Māori, PI are overrepresented in these stats.
That's true, yeah.
But this new government and the policies they're introducing and this proposed budget that's, none of it helps anyone poor, anyone struggling. It does not help them.
So it makes them weaker, is what you're saying. It exposes them, and they're more exposed to the shocks of it all.
Yeah. Why does it have to be so far right or so far left? Why can't we just understand? Okay, let's make money. Let's be aspirational and encourage kids to be successful and make as much money as possible, and celebrate people who make money. Not have tall poppy syndrome, but celebrate it. But then why can't we? Not help the less fortunate.
Yeah, so a lot of that support is still in place. Some of it has changed as well, and people are noticing that. It's got tougher. There's less money in the environment. It's been ripped out by the Reserve Bank, because high interest rates, and that's what happens. So we've all got less money. This is not just about Māori, though. I mean, white people are poor too.
100%.
Which is what you've said, and just why I support what you do. You don't have to be Māori to turn up tomorrow to the protest?
Everyone's welcome. Everyone's welcome to come down and show support. What's going on in this country at the moment it's affecting really anyone struggling, and there are more and more people in this pool of poor people from middle class, working class being pushed down. They've been laid off. Times are tough. I spoke earlier about a family that I visited during the school holidays. 5 children. In their fridge, they had half a dog roll, a packet of chuck steak. In their cupboard, they had a bottle of cooking oil and half a packet of Weet-Bix at the start of the school holidays. That's how tough things are for families.
With the protest, do you expect there to be such disruption that it will really get under the skin of other New Zealanders trying to get to work? Do you expect it? Is that the aim?
Well, the same thing happened when people were driving down their tractors down the motorways. I'm sure people are going to get frustrated, but if you take the heat and the politics away from it and just try and, I believe, Duncan, that understanding brings empathy. We just have to understand what's going on.
Yeah, Te Pāti Māori say this will make the hikoi of 2005 look small. I was at that hikoi, 20,000 people. It was amazing, huge, spine-tingling, and they reckon this will be bigger. Do you think it will be? Cool, isn't it?
I'm hoping it's huge. We're down at Aotea Square. If you want to come down, we're going to be there from about 9:30, but starts at 11. We're going to have waiata. We've got koanga reos coming. We've got some groups coming. It's going to be epic.
But should people take the day off? I mean, are you saying people should strike, or people should take a day's leave, or just walk out of their work and join?
Look, I'm not saying anything in terms of striking.
I'm asking you to.
Yeah. But for me, if you're able to, if you're able to strike, then do. We understand, and it's also about, talk to your boss about it, communicate it. But we understand not everyone can do that.
Chris Luxon says that the weekdays are for working and protests. Well, that's for the weekend.
Can
you believe that?
That's an absolute disgrace and an out-of-touch comment. It actually shows how out of touch he is, because most working class, middle class, there's no weekends anymore. We're working.
Yeah, weekends are for Saturday morning rugby, aren't they?
It just shows how out of touch he is with. And the concerning thing for me is, whenever you have, and look, the last government wasn't much better either. See, the thing is, I haven't changed. I gave the last government a good go as well.
Yeah.
But any time you have politicians and people in power that are so out of touch with what's actually happening on the ground, we are in serious trouble.
Oh, I've told you this for years, and they. My belief is they are out of touch. They lose touch really quickly. With what you see in your community and the people that you deal with, how has it changed? Because if they're on the benefit, they're still getting the benefit. So how has life changed? Cost of living's gone through the roof, and they one or two shocks and they're screwed, aren't they?
There's no more room for life to happen. We helped a family a few weeks ago paying $1,000 a week rent.
And where was that?
This was in Manarewa.
What do they get for that? Probably not much.
Not much. So
it's bloody ridiculous. It's criminal, the cost of rents and mortgages in this country.
And so when you've got a sick child or broken down car or something happens, you've got there is no room for it. Then that's when you need services like ours. And the crazy thing is, Duncan, services like our food share, and we're not the only ones. There's so many amazing community groups. We are being overwhelmed. The need, as more and more cuts, the need is overwhelming. Yet there's no more extra support for groups like us. So imagine the cost.
How do you change this? So how do you, that family that's paying $1,000 a week for the house? I mean, that's the entire minimum wage taken up just there on rent. Okay, just then. So no room to move, to eat, to live, to sleep, to do anything else.
Well, the family fell behind in their rent because they're having to choose: do I pay my rent or do I put food on the table for my children? This is where we're at. And as I was saying before, Duncan, imagine the cost to New Zealand if groups like us just stopped. Imagine the cost of that.
Well, I believe that what you do is you reach people that the government doesn't know how to get hold of. They don't know how to reach them, so you get hold of thousands of people through your reach.
They call our people hard to reach, but it's not us that's hard to reach; it's the system.
Why can't the system reach them? What's wrong with the system? Because you've dealt with them. You've been dealing with them for years now.
The system is overwhelmed with bureaucracy. I like to call it bureaucrat, and this bureaucrat actually gets in the way of helping people. You never let bureaucracy stop you from helping people. There was a mother that took a grandmother, that went to WINS and asked for support with her granddaughter. For whatever reason, the father's in prison, the mother is not present, the grandmother's got this child, gone into WINS to ask for some help, to ask for support. What we have to understand is, to all the listeners, not everybody has good friends and family that can help.
Yeah.
Okay? So she's gone there to ask for help. This baby is living and breathing in front of this worker. It's there. It exists, but it wasn't registered at birth. How does this even happen?
Yeah.
No birth certificate. So, no, we can't give you support. We can't support because this baby in the system does not exist. So we can't give you food support.
Yeah.
What an absolute disgrace.
Well, we can't give food support to people that don't have an address. Simple as that.
And here's the cycle. How can we try and break cycles when it's constantly pushing people down?
Do you get depressed about this stuff because you are seeing this every day?
I'm depressed now.
Yeah, I can see this. I can see it. How do we break it? How do we break a cycle? This is generational. It's not, Dave. It's not something that can be fixed like this. It's not an overnight. We can't go out for coffee after this and solve it, right?
What we need to understand is that it's, any social issue, there's a community group there on the ground having an impact with next to no money. Just imagine if they were resourced properly. Our model we use is community and business and government. This is the thing. And government. Not just this government or the last or the next. All governments need to sit down. The crown. We need to sit down and understand, okay, these are long-term problems. These are generational issues. There's generational trauma here. We have to sit down and understand we've got to work with community groups, with these families, long term, so that things are better for the grandkids.
But we don't do long term because we have these short cycles,
exactly,
political cycles, and it's like a lollipop.
And that's what we're standing up for tomorrow with this activation. It's Mokopuna decisions. We have to all understand this. We want lives. We have children. We'll have grandchildren one day. We want our country to be better for our grandkids.
But how can it be when houses cost $1,000 a week in Buttabean and there's no money for food? I mean, how do you change that? Housing is the number one issue for me. Housing's the number one issue. It's far too expensive. It's gone way ahead of wages. And when my father was looking after us when we were young, it was 25% of their income was put into the mortgage or rent. Now it's almost 100%.
Yeah, I don't know how people, that's why we're overwhelmed. It's no accident. There's a huge increase in crime. There's a huge increase in poor, desperate people. And in terms of the housing, man, you've got the man coming on next. So that's a good question for him.
Yeah, Dave, I appreciate your time. You're buoyant ahead of tomorrow. You're looking forward to tomorrow. You're hopeful.
I'm tired. But I know tomorrow it's going to be an amazing day, and I just really encourage everybody to come down and experience, and this is what it's about, standing up for what we believe in and what's right for everybody.
For a better country. Dave, you do incredible work. Appreciate your time as always.
Thank you, brother.
Good on you, mate. Good on you.
Duncan Garner, live.